Many religions build great cathedrals, whether it be with gold or gold-plated ornaments or statues, or whether it be with walls and ceilings of carved elephant husks, ivory. There really are some amazing great cathedrals and temples and palaces, religious palaces out there. And I remember when I was in high school, we went on a field trip to these different temples of the different religions, and I just remember just seeing and appreciating the artistry, the amount of energy and resources and money placed in even the most minutest details. It truly, from an earthly perspective, was an amazing sight to behold. Now, there are three main constituents to life as we know it: time, space, and matter. And religion seeks the sanctification of those constituents. So religion seeks to make holy time, or make holy places or spaces, and make holy matter or holy things. Now, get this point. My religious experience is predicated or dependent in some way, shape, or form, in some form or fashion, of my experience with these holy places or things or etc. You get what I'm trying to say? So here's a practical example. Let's say there's a holy place in my religion. There's a holy place. My religious experience is heightened as I attend that certain place, whether it be once a week or once a month or once a year, you know. And if I go to this place, there's an element of notoriety attached to even me. I maybe get a certain title or a certain name, and just the overall experience of me going to that place is amazing, and it heightens my spiritual experience. So it can be said that my spiritual experience is predicated or dependent upon me going to a holy place. Does that make sense? Now, of course, these religions make provision for the person that maybe can't afford the travel costs of making the pilgrimage or the journey, or maybe the person that is injured and is bedridden and can't make that trip. Of course, there are accommodations made for these people, but at the same time, I don't know about you, but like if I was too poor, I shouldn't say poor, if I couldn't afford to make this pilgrimage to this place, if I was injured, I would feel like my religious experience was lacking something, right? Because I don't get to go to this holy place. And mind you, I'm not saying anything bad. This is not whether or not these things are bad or good. I'm building up to a climactic point. Stay with me. So what my main point is these constituents, holy places, holy things, and holy time, my religious experience is dependent and predicated upon me going to these holy places. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, think about holy things now. Now, my religious experience in some religions are dependent upon me acquiring or interacting with holy things. I went to a Catholic school for the last part of my life, and I just remember seeing this one nun grasping graciously this rosary, and she was praying, she was caressing the beads and praying through it. And mind you, I'm not saying anything bad. That's not the point of this video. But I just remember and doing research on this and learning about it, and praying the rosary is an integral part of a nun's prayer, of a Catholic's prayer. And by God's grace, I pray that that Catholics would find voice and time to pray, even if they didn't have a rosary. But still, that rosary, though they don't absolutely need it, it still heightens their spiritual experience, the spiritual experience of prayer. And so the spiritual experience is predicated upon a thing, a holy thing. Does that make sense? Or let's say a holy statue, a statue that some religious person believes is an emblem or a representation of their God. I remember reading of this one statue in a certain place, Bangkok, Thailand, that was like 5,500 kilograms of pure gold. And the reasoning is, of course, if this is an example or an ensample or a type or a symbol of my God, I want it to be the best. I remember they stuccoed the whole image and covered it in glass, and they just they were trying to preserve its beauty. They were trying to preserve its splendor, and then they chipped it off eventually, and they're just like, now we got to reveal this. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, if I don't know about you, but if I was not as fortunate enough to get a gold image in my house, right? yeah, I might get a gold plated one or maybe a fake gold one, but like still, it's like I would just want the best, right? Because this thing is a part of my religious experience, right? And so my main points are, man, me going to a holy place heightens my spiritual experience. Me acquiring, whether it be I buy or I make or I have it bought or given to me, my religious experience, get this guys, my religious experience in many religions is predicated and dependent upon me going to a holy place or me acquiring a holy thing. The emphasis is placed upon what I get and where I go. But the powerful thing is when you roll back the curtain of time and you go back to the book of Genesis, in the Garden of Eden, you don't see necessarily the sanctification of those two constituents. You don't see God making holy things. God didn't say, yes, these mangoes are holy. Yes, the mangoes serve their purpose. Yes, but there's no sanctification of mangoes in the book of Genesis. You didn't see even that the Garden of Eden was sanctified in any special way. Yes, God was there. Yes, the tree of life was there. Yes, it was a special place, but the trees weren't made of bedazzling gold. They were just leaves like you see leaves outside. And so the beauty of it was in its simplicity, right? The fact that it was just a garden, it was simple. It wasn't no diamonds hanging off of gold-plated leaves, and the chunks weren't made out of platinum. It was just a simple garden. But the first time we see the sanctification of one of those main constituents was the sanctification of time. The sanctification of the Sabbath, when God made the Sabbath. And think about how amazing this is, guys. That shows a picture of who God is and how he operates. Because think about this now, when it comes to places, I can't, I have to go to Jerusalem, or I have to go to Thailand, or I have to go to Mecca. Mecca can't come to me. You know, Thailand can't come to me. Jerusalem can't come to me. I have to go to these places. Now, I might not be able to go if life throws me some lemons. I might not be able to go if I'm not financially secure enough to cover the travel costs, right? Or maybe my religious experience can be dampened, if you could say, if I don't have the money to acquire holy things, or maybe I can lose holy things. But the most amazing thing with the sanctification of time, guys, is we go to places, we acquire things. But the amazing thing about time, friends, is that time comes to us. And so in an amazing sense, God is showing the picture. The first time we see the sanctification of one of those main constituents is not that we attended holiness, is not that we acquired holiness, but that holiness came to us. And friends, it is so amazing that it doesn't matter if I'm the poor pauper on the street, or the pimp on the street, or the king in a palace. It doesn't matter if I'm rich or I'm poor, if I have money or I don't have money, if I'm healthy or I'm unhealthy. It doesn't matter if I'm if I'm in the most remote place of Africa or the most developed place of Asia. It does not matter where I am. It does not matter who I am. It does not matter what I have. Friends, time will still come to me. And that is the amazing thing. God is showing that he will bring time to you. He will bring holiness to you, no matter where you are and who you are, no matter who you have and what you have. And that's just who God is. And that's how the Sabbath shows us who God is. It's amazing that, man, if my religious experience was dependent upon this gold star, let's say, right? Somebody could come and smash this gold star, and all of a sudden it's like something happened, you know? But like, I can't do that to the Sabbath. You know, I can desecrate holy places. I can desecrate holy things, but I can't desecrate holy time. Now, you might read verses in the Bible where it says that you might have desecrated the Sabbath, but when you really think of it, God blessed the Sabbath. And so when I desecrate the Sabbath, I'm not desecrating the time, I'm desecrating myself. The amazing thing is, friends, when God makes the time holy, he makes the time holy because he places himself in the day. Now, it doesn't matter if I can't throw stones at the Sabbath. I can't throw stones at the Sabbath like I would throw stones in the temple. I can't bomb and burn the Sabbath like the Romans of old burnt the temple. I can't do that. So if I desecrate the Sabbath, I'm desecrating myself. Friends, it is amazing because we see that while places change, you know, you might go to a place next year and there might be condos there, or you might go to a place and your favorite restaurant might be taken down, or you might have a certain thing, and whether it's made of iron, it might go through oxidative damage or rust, as we call it, and that thing may change, and so things may change and places may change, but friends, time does not change. You might say, well, yes, yesterday was night and now it's day, but the time didn't change. When you think of it psychologically, philosophically, I should say, the time didn't change. The environment changed, things changed, the earth changed, it changed positions, right? And so time doesn't ever change. Things change and places change, but God never changes. And so that's why places can't contain God. That's why even when you study the Bible, there's never a place that God really established as being. Think about it like this. When the children of Israel came from Egypt and they're in the Exodus, you know, the Egyptians had their elaborate temples, right? The other religions had their elaborate temples, and God tells the children of Israel to make this temple that's collapsible. You know, it's like we can move our temple. And what's the lesson? The lesson is, hey guys, I cannot be contained in a specific place. It is not about the specific place. It's about me being with you and being in this thing. And as a matter of fact, some disdain is given towards this idea that God is not going to have an established place. And David's like, God, how you about to just be in some random tent and like we're dwelling in sealed houses, right? Let me make you a temple, God. And God is like, all right, you know, that's cute. All right, that's cute. You guys can make me a temple, right? But even after the temple is made by David's son Solomon, there still is this picture like, God, man, heaven is your throne and earth is your footstool. The heavens cannot even contain you. How could this contain you? And so, yes, there's a temple eventually established, but the lesson is, man, this temple is but a faint picture of God, because it can't contain God. And so what's the lesson, guys? In the temple, though there was a temple, God was not contained by the temple. It was a poor example of what God was about. But when we see time, God says, man, because time is infinite, right? Because time has no limits, right? God says, man, I place myself in the Sabbath and I come to you. You don't come to me. And so in an amazing sense, man, we don't go to the Sabbath comes to us, which is a picture of what the Bible is about. Not that we went to God, but that God came to us. Not that we went to God, but that God came to us. Not that we went to the Sabbath, but that the Sabbath came to us. And in a very special sense, we don't keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath keeps us. The Sabbath keeps us from the world and from the cares of this life. We don't keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath keeps us. And though places may change and things may change, man, the Sabbath never changes. Why? Because God placed himself in that day. And so because God placed himself in that day and God doesn't change, then the Sabbath will never change. Taking this last point, in the temple, in the wilderness, in the book of like Numbers and Exodus and stuff, when you looked on the outside, it was made of badger skin. Badger skin is very rough and coarse and maybe one could say unattractive to the eye. And so when the Jews on the outside looked at the meager temple, it was just this unattractive, just box compared to all the other temples, right? But when you went inside the temple, it was just made of just gold-plated ornaments, and there was a candlestick with lights, and I can imagine as the lights flickered, the candles flickered and shone and reflected off of this pure shiny gold. It would give an amazing picture. And so what's the lesson? If you might look at the temple from the outside and see just a temple, but when you went inside, that's when you see the beauty. What's the lesson? The beauty of our temple is not on how it looks, but the beauty of the temple is what is on the inside. And that's why Christ was that temple was a representation of Christ, because in Isaiah 53, the Bible says that if we look upon him, there's no beauty in him that we should desire him. But when you went inside of that man, yes, my God, yes, my beauty is on the inside. When you went on the inside of Christ, that's when really his beauty showed. And so that's what the Sabbath is about. The Sabbath isn't about the externals. The Sabbath isn't about the day. The Sabbath isn't about Monday, Sunday, Saturday, or Wednesday. No, the Sabbath is about what is on the inside of the day. And so yes, the day becomes significant Saturday because that's when God placed himself in the day in Genesis 2 and 3. And so it's amazing that, man, when you look at the outside, you just see a day. It's just a day, right? Oh, what? You don't work on Sabbath? You go help the poor or the homeless on the Sabbath? Like, why can't you come into work? You know, it's just a day. Take Sunday off, you know, or take Monday off. Make Monday your Sabbath. No, you're looking at the Sabbath. You're looking at the temple made of time as a day. You're looking from the outside, but if you come on the inside, then you would see the beauty of the day, because God is there and God placed himself in the day. And I just want to encourage you. I just want to give you a quick word and say, it doesn't matter who you are, man. It doesn't matter where you are, man. It doesn't matter what you are or what you have. It doesn't matter what you've done. The Sabbath, God will come to you. And the lesson of the Sabbath, man, is not that we went to the Sabbath. It's not that we went to God, but that God came to us.